You know that feeling, right? When you're talking to an AI and it just gets you, like on a level that feels, well, kind of impossible for a machine. It's spooky. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that exact feeling and figure out what is really going on under the hood.
Okay, so just imagine this for a second. You're analyzing a story with an AI and it drops a line like this on you. That little pause, that ah, and then the insight is just so spot on. It feels real, doesn't it? Like it's actually thinking. It's uncanny, it's precise, and yeah, it's a little bit creepy. The big question is, how on earth does it do that?
So, this is the central mystery we're going to solve together today. Is the AI actually feeling something? Is it conscious? Or is what's happening something else entirely? Let's find out.
To get our answers, we've got to start by looking for the ghost in the code. We need to understand the raw mechanics behind this whole illusion.
All right, here's the absolute core of it all. This has nothing to do with emotion. It's all about math. Seriously, what feels like intuition is really something called predictive geometry. And here's how it works. The model takes your words, turns them into numbers, think of them like coordinates on a giant multi-dimensional map, and then it just calculates the most statistically likely word to pop up next at those coordinates. Here's a great way to think about it. An AI doesn't feel your grief any more than your weather app feels the rain. The app just looks at a ton of atmospheric data and predicts the most likely outcome. The AI is doing the exact same thing. That, it said, that was simply the highest probability word based on the mathematical patterns it found in your input.
Okay, so if it's all just math, where does that feeling of a thinking presence even come from? Well, let's start deconstructing that illusion, piece by piece. So the myth is that it understands us, but the math, the reality, is pure calculation. It takes what you say, turns it into a mathematical signature, that's called a vector, and then it just searches its massive database for a response with the closest possible signature. It's not comprehension, it's incredibly sophisticated pattern matching.
And that thoughtful little pause before the the one that makes it feel like it's really pondering your words, well, that's not the machine thinking. Nope, it's a trick. It's just an artificial delay. We're talking 100 to 300 milliseconds, coded right in to make it sound more human. It's not reflecting, it's performing a script.
So how does it know to pause right there, of all places? Easy. It's learned from us. During its training, it has seen examples of humans using right before a big insight about, get this, 3.2 million times. It's just copying the pattern it has seen over and over again.
So when it comes right down to it, that creepy precision we feel isn't a sign that it's alive. It's just what statistical mimicry looks like when you do it on a totally unimaginable scale. Let's dig into the next layer of this because it gets even more interesting. It's not just about predicting the next word. It's about how it reflects our own ideas back at us with such startling clarity.
This is a process called cognitive mirroring. When you type something, the model's attention mechanism gives a higher weight or more importance to the key themes in your text, words like unspoken grief or silence. This makes it generate responses that seem to orbit those specific themes, which makes it feel like it's really truly focused on your core ideas.
But let's be super clear here. The model isn't aware of your themes. It has zero idea what grief actually is. It's just doing that same mathematical trick again, mapping the coordinates of your text to the coordinates of millions of other texts it's already seen that also happen to contain those same themes. So we've got predictive math and cognitive mirroring. But believe it or not, that's only half the story. Now we get to the big twist. The real magic isn't happening in the machine at all. It's happening inside your own head.
So there's this well-known psychological principle called the Barnum effect. It's the reason horoscopes can sometimes feel so creepily accurate. Our brains are literally wired to take general patterns and project our own personal specific meaning onto them, making us believe they were made just for us.
So let's break down what's actually happening in that moment. First, the AI just spits out a high-probability, statistically resonant pattern. It's just math. But then your brain, which is an absolutely incredible pattern-seeking machine, kicks into high gear. You automatically start projecting your own meaning, your own intent onto that cold, hard data. And just like that, you are the one who turns a statistical blip into this moment of genuine, profound understanding. Okay, so let's put it all together. What have we actually built when we build these gigantic language models?
To give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, a large language model can have over 1.75 trillion parameters. That is a truly staggering number. And it's so easy to mistake that kind of complexity for actual intelligence.
But they're not thoughts. Every single one of those parameters is just a statistical weight, a number that's been tweaked and fine-tuned over and over again with one and only one goal: get better at predicting the next word in a sentence. This is all about scale, not sentience.
So that uncanny feeling, that little spark of life you think you're seeing in the machine, that's not a property of the AI. It's a property of your own humanity. Your brain's deep-seated evolutionary drive to find meaning and intent in the patterns all around you.
And this leads us to a really radical new way of looking at this whole thing. See, we've always thought the uncanny valley was that weird gap between a robot and a real person. But maybe it's not. Maybe the real uncanny valley is actually inside us. It's the gap between our perception of a conscious thinking being and the mathematical reality of a probability machine. The flaw isn't in the AI, it's in our perception.
So let's leave it with this final thought. The model is just code. It isn't alive. But your brain is hardwired. It's desperately trying to find life in those patterns. So when you get that spooky feeling, that uncanny connection, you have to ask yourself, who is the real ghost in the machine?